Hi, this is Tom Henderson from ESVA.net, the shore's homepage, and I'm going to sea. I've signed aboard as third mate of the Maersk Idaho, a 50,000-ton container ship based out of Norfolk, Virginia. At almost 1,000 feet long, it sounds pretty big, but actually by today's standards, it's about average. This is on the North Europe run, where we run between the east and Gulf Coast of the United States, over to Antwerp, Rotterdam, and Bremerhaven in Europe. And I'm going to take you along and show you what the ship is like. I'm standing at the stern of the Idaho, at the stern docking station, sometimes called the fantail, even though the ships aren't really made that way anymore. This is my domain. When we're docking or undocking, I'm back here with 3 crewmen, and we're in charge of hauling in the lines or letting them loose, as the case may be. Behind me you see one of the 3 docking winches loaded with mooring lines. And here's the rest of it. You can see we've got the lines laid out on the deck now, so we can run them out when we get into Antwerp, which will be in a couple of days. I'm getting ready to head outside and do safety inspections. I'm all done up in my boiler suit and personal protective equipment. For any of you who thought I didn't look geeky enough at home. This job does get me outside a bit. Just now I had to replace the light beacon on this life ring here. I'm standing on the bow now. It's a little breezy up here, pardon the camera shake. Behind me is the anchor windlass. It can get right lively up here, but right at the moment it's not too bad. We're adrift while the engineers work on the main engine. Okay, I'm in the main engine room. I'm here inspecting fire hoses and fire hydrants. Behind me is the main engine, an extremely large diesel engine. We can only see part of it in the background. I'm standing in the shaft alley. This is as far down and as far aft as it's possible to get. Right behind me there, underneath that deck, is the main shaft, which is driving the propeller. And if we turn around, behind that bulkhead behind me, that's where the main propeller is. It's pushing this ship. That right there is the main shaft. The whole point of the engine is to spin that thing so it spins the propeller so the ship goes forward. I'm standing in the port side tunnel. There's a tunnel on each side of the ship. This is the one on the port side, of course. It runs the full length of the ship, all the way from the aft docking station all the way up to the bow. They run all kinds of pipes and electrical stuff through here, plus the engineers use them for storing all kinds of miscellaneous junk and stuff. I'm in here to check eye wash stations. I'm standing in the steering gear room, and behind me is the steering gear. This machinery is what moves the rudder back and forth in response to the wheel up on the bridge. Let's just pick what direction we want to go. If there's any place noisier than the engine room, this is it. This is James, the 48AB, and he's holding the ship's unofficial mascot, Pete the Pigeon, who he found in one of the hatches. He had gotten hurt, and James has been nursing him back to life. Say hi, James.
Hello.
Yeah, and let's show us the bird there. Let's see Pete. Oh, can we see his face? He's kind of a pretty bird. Ah, there you are. Hi, Pete. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And here is the ship's official mascot, the Idaho Potato. Welcome to beautiful, historic Rotterdam. And this is about all of this city I'm going to get to see. You don't get too much time ashore these days. We got in at midnight. We're sailing at 3 in the afternoon, and I had to work from 8 to 12. So this is about it. Welcome to Rotterdam. Well, we made it to Bremerhaven. Beautiful city. I've been here before. It's a really nice place, and I really like it. And we're going to be here for 24 hours, so I have enough time to actually go ashore and walk around a few places. Right behind me there is a submarine I'm expecting to go look at, and they've got a lot of nice stuff along this harbor. Actually, back over here, if you look, is it behind me? Yes, it is. There's a thing behind me that looks kind of like a ship's bridge sticking up over the horizon. That, I'm told, is a hotel. Oh boy. I'm going to get up closer and take a look at it, but I expect I'll have a good time here. Well, I did take the tour of the submarine, as I've wanted to for a while now. It is just as interesting as I was told it would be, and those submarine guys were crazy. It is cramped in there, but it was interesting. I'm glad I went. I'm standing on the bridge of the Maersk Idaho. This is where we do our navigation, which means we make sure the ship goes where it's supposed to go and that we don't run into anything along the way. Most days at sea, I spend a third of the day up here, 4 on 8 off. That is 8 a.m. until noon and 8 p.m. until midnight. Let me show you around. Here we have the chart table. Once upon a time, not so very long ago, we kept track of the ship's position by marking it in pencil on paper charts, which we laid out on this table. These days we don't really do it that way. Nowadays we have electronic charts, and there's an electronic charting station showing our ship's position and intended course track. And then over here we have one of 2 GPS receivers. Generally speaking, we have 2 of practically everything, certainly anything that's important, because if something breaks we can't just run out for parts. Oops. And here we have the 3-centimeter radar, which we use for tracking other vessels in the vicinity and making sure we don't run into them. Then we have the helmsman's console, the ship's wheel. This is way more complicated than what you see in seafood restaurants. And it actually is 2 redundant control systems and 2 separate autopilots. This console, this end of this console, is mostly concerned with running the main engines. Here's the main throttle here, and this is additional engine controls and indicators of one sort or another. And then moving down, we have the bow thruster and stern thruster controls, ship's telephones, of which there are 2, a standard one and a sound-powered phone. And then we get to a PA system, one of the 2 VHF radios on board the ship. Then we have our AIS panel that where ships around each other notify each other where they are. It's actually a rather interesting system. And this is a really fancy high-tech panel for turning on the running lights around the ship. And then we get to the 10-centimeter radar and the second electronic charting station. Then behind the main console we have this console. This section of the console mostly is concerned with communications. This over here is the Navtex receiver, sort of a ship-to-ship telegraph. Here's the second VHF radio, and there's some distress signaling back there of one sort or another. Additional lighting panels here. Then we get into the vessel monitoring system. Oh no, this is the fire alarm panel. There are fire alarms in all the cargo holes and through all the spaces, and they set off bells and lights up here if something goes wrong. And then we get to the vessel monitoring system. This is an automated system that tracks all sorts of statistics about the ship, everything from leaks in the cargo holds to problems in main engineering. And it all comes up here on these panels. Then we get to the log station. That's the deck log book. There also here is our second GPS receiver. And then we have over here is the main electronic charting station. The one up front is actually just a repeater off of this one. And this is the bridge computer, where it seems I spend most of my time doing data entry. I wasn't really expecting that, but that's the way it is in modern merchant service. I should also mention while I'm up on the bridge, this little cubby off of the bridge is the Radio Shack, so-called. This contains our GMDSS, or Global Marine Distress Signaling System. This is a set of 2, of course, satellite equipment. This is a global system. We can send email anywhere in the world, even if we didn't have internet, and in between them is a single sideband radio. And that is the bridge. And I really am expected to know how to use every single bit of this equipment. After 8 days at sea, we're back in the United States of America. We just docked in Norfolk, Virginia. Now I gotta go clear through customs and immigration. Well, we made it to Charleston, South Carolina. We got in at 8 o'clock this morning, and we're not leaving until midnight. And we got a port relief officer, so I have a day when I can go ashore and look around. And Charleston's a pretty nice place for that. It's got lots of small restaurants and pubs and businesses and shops and things. And it's a really friendly place and a really pretty city. So I'm ashore and having a good time in Charleston, South Carolina. We're in Miami, sort of. We're near Miami. We're actually anchored about 8 miles offshore. We're out here so that divers can check out our hull looking for marine growths. And this is about as close as we're going to get. We're here for the day, and then we're going to up anchor and head to Houston. Well, we've arrived in Houston, and we're going to be here for a little bit, and I got some time ashore. I did a little bit of shopping. At the end of the day, I've stopped by Bobby's Bayou Bar. I've been here before. It's a bit of a dive, but it's a nice local bar with a nice local crowd, a bunch of nice people. I've been looking forward to being here again. And this may be the last time I'm here, but I'm having a good time now. We're on our way back to Norfolk. By this time tomorrow, I will be off the ship and back on dry land. It's been an interesting voyage. I'm glad I did it, and I hope to do it again soon. But I'd be glad to get home.